To your point about ritualism and human remains, said Ira, also looking out at the desert. Edward Abbey's remains are out there somewhere. They're everywhere out there, in fact. He wrote The Monkey Wrench Gang, didn't he? Carmelita asked. With the crazy environmental warrior guy, Hayduke? That's him, Ira confirmed. Abbey, I mean. He lived in Tucson. He told his friends that when he died, he wanted to be left out in the desert for the birds and animals to eat. He didn't want his body buried 6 feet underground or burned to ashes. He wanted it to provide sustenance to desert critters. His friends did what he asked, and ever since, his fans have been trying to find the place where his body was left so they can build a shrine to him there. From the Mayans straight through to today, Chuck noted, gazing out at the desert. The attraction of death never ends. He turned to Ira. Speaking of which, what made you go back to the petroglyph rocks this afternoon after Ron told everyone to stay away? He may be in charge of Lance and Martina, but he's not in charge of me, Ira said. Chuck looked away. Not exactly a straight answer. Ira glanced from the spiral to the bones. Now that I've seen all this, I'm really itching to get back to the rocks again, with you. Why's that? You showed me yours, she raised her eyebrows. I can't wait to show you mine in return. Count me intrigued, said Chuck. Not to mention returning to the drainage, with Ira set to take the heat from Ron, or at least share it, would enable Carmelita and Chuck to keep an eye out for Carlos at the water station, and perhaps find a way to search for him in the vicinity. Chuck offered to belay Ira while she climbed back up the cleft, but she turned to Carmelita instead. How about you, Climber Carm? Would you like to belay me? Sure, Carmelita said. Ira grinned. Flecks of bright pink lipstick speckled her front teeth. She knotted Chuck's rescue cord around her waist, while Carmelita looped the thin rope behind her back and sat on the flat patch of ground at the bottom of the crevice. The rope ran from Ira's waist to the top of the cliff, through the straps of Chuck's day pack, secured to the mesquite trunk, and back down to Carmelita on the dirt platform. Ready? Ira asked. Belay is on, Carmelita confirmed. Ira gave the cord a tug. Carmelita closed her fingers around the rope, securing it in place. Just making sure, said Ira. Turning to the cleft, she began to climb. She ascended the dihedral with fluidity and grace, moving upward from hold to hold with no wasted energy, her feet and hands acting in perfect synchronicity with one another. Until, all at once, just before she reached the top of the cliff, her hands and feet left the facing rock walls of the cleft, and she fell, plummeting down the crevice, straight toward Chuck and Carmelita below.